Ladies and gentlemen, Furbies. Yes, these fuzzy owls managed to make their way onto every child's Christmas list in the late 90s and early 2000s, making them one of the most popular toy lines ever. I remember one time that my sister had one, and when the battery started going on it, it started slurring its speech and making weird demonic sounds, so I decided to kick it down the stairs, because I was a great brother. Hello! Welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and thinking about that story, it might have been the batteries, or it might have been the fact that I'd kicked it down the stairs multiple times, so take your pick. As a matter of fact, Furbies were so popular, the electronic robot toy sold more than 40 million units during the 3 years of its original production from 1988. Being translated into 24 languages to make the Furby truly an international bestseller. However, there is a darker side to the Furby story, and no, I'm not talking about the plethora of videos you can find online of people's Furbies saying weird demonic things. I mean the fact that once, Furbies were considered a possible national security threat, and as a result, were treated like one. These double agents inhabiting most homes across the US in the late 90s was considered a national security threat by the National Security Agency in Maryland, and as a result was banned from the premises. This meant that if anybody worked at the National Security Agency had a Furby, they weren't allowed to take it into work for security reasons. I mean, I don't know why you'd take a Furby with you to work anyway, but just in case you wanted to, you physically weren't allowed to. The official concern was the fact that they thought it could possibly be a national security threat. But I imagine the bosses probably thought that Furbies were just annoying as hell and decided to have a rule in to stop people feeding their Furbies every 5 minutes instead of actually doing work. An allegedly classified NSA internal memo alerted other agents to the Furby's secret embedded computer chip, which allows every Furby to utter 200 words, 100 in English and 100 in Furbish. I suppose the real risk here is that if you took a Furby to work and then took it out into public, there's a real risk that the Furby may suddenly spurt out something confidential, such as where the location of those Russian nuclear subs are, which isn't really something you want to get out in public, especially if it's your Furby that spills the beans. An alleged memo that was sent out to NSA staff said the following: personally owned photographic, video and audio recording equipment are prohibited items. This includes toys such as Furbies, with built-in recorders that repeat the audio with synthesized sound to mimic the original signal. We are prohibited from introducing these items into NSA spaces. Those who have should contact their staff security office for guidance. The risk of classified information being disclosed by a toy was a very, very big concern, hence why Furbies were added to a list of prohibited items that weren't allowed on the premises. I can just imagine what a Furby interrogation's like. Alright Beaky, we know you're acting for the Kremlin, tell us what you know. Who knew Lou de Lou? This guy's good. Tiger Electronics, a division of the Hasbro toy company, was quick to issue a statement allaying fears of there being any threat posed by the Furby toys. Tiger Electronics president Roger Schiffman said, "Furby has absolutely no ability to do any recording whatsoever. We know that Furby has artificial intelligence. We're just not sure what kind of intelligence the NSA is working with now. I've been told that we're developing a Furby that can drive a car in the year 2000. We've also been told that the current Furby has the technology to launch the space shuttle. We have one woman who is absolutely insistent that her Furby sings Italian operas." So clearly they decided to try and allay fears by pointing out how absolutely ridiculous this whole thing was, and the whole scaremongering that came with it. For them, I don't really blame them, because at the time, the Furby was the toy of the year, and as you can imagine, it probably made a load of money. Any Furby that talks about terrorist activities, I can imagine is something that the company doesn't want to be associated with. As funny as this all may seem, the fact that this happened does have some more sinister implications, especially because of the fact that this happened in the late 90s, and really should have been a sign of things to come. Furbies at the time were really unique, mainly because there wasn't really any other toys on the market like them, and the technology they were using was quite advanced at the time as well. As technology develops and the ease of access to components to make toys with voice recording or internet connectivity grows, the risks this poses grows each holiday cycle, as easily accessible toys which likely would not have been rigorously tested would enter the market. This was the case in a newer line of Furbies, where the British charity Which found that the new Bluetooth connectivity feature in the Furbies could be, potentially, hijacked by somebody within 100 feet of the Furby, meaning that they could take control of the Furby's microphone and say whatever they wanted through it, which, as a children's toy, is extremely concerning. So, something innocent, if not tested or prevented, could be exploited, and the threat of the toy's technological flaws could become a very real reality. This issue wasn't just identified in Furbies, however, as there's been a whole host of toy lines which have been recognised of having these serious technological flaws which could be used for abuse. In 2017, Germany's Federal Network Agency, the country's regulatory office, said that the children's doll Kayla was a failed toy. The doll itself can talk to children and answer questions. To do this, it uses the internet to find the information it needs to answer the questions. The Federal Network Agency identified the toy as a potential espionage tool and asked parents to dispose of these toys due to the threats that they could pose. In fact, they even went a step further and went to retailers and told them that they were only allowed to sell the toy if they were disconnected from the internet to stop those features being abused by hackers. That, and the fact that the voices the doll hears from the children is recorded on a database necessary for the toy's software to function and is an extremely vulnerable point of access, all of which are things parents were never made aware of. So yeah, get these things off the shelves immediately. That is a serious problem. Thinking about it, it's crazy that something so innocent like a child's toy is so susceptible to something so malicious, and the fact that many parents that go out and buy these things probably aren't even thinking about the security flaws when they go and buy these toys for their kids. They'll just go into a shop, their kid will point at a toy and go, "I want that," and well, they might buy them, and that's that. Any consideration for anything which may pose a risk probably doesn't even cross their mind. This is especially difficult when your kid may have been badgering you for the last 4 months asking for this toy for Christmas. It must be hard to say that Santa couldn't bring you Kayla this year due to the fact that she's considered a legal espionage apparatus. As the technological age goes on and toy manufacturers are venturing further and further into new and advanced technologies in their toys, the FBI put out a statement which effectively warned parents against the risks posed by internet-connected toys, and in their statement said the following: "The cybersecurity measures used in the toy and the toy's partner applications, and the Wi-Fi network on which the toy connects directly impacts the overall user security. Communications connections where data is encrypted between the toy, Wi-Fi access points, and the internet servers that store data or interact with the toy are crucial to mitigate the risk of the hackers exploiting the toy or possibly eavesdropping on conversations/audio messages. Bluetooth connected toys that do not have the authentication requirements, such as pins or passwords, when pairing with the mobile devices could pose a risk for unauthorized access to the toy and allow communications with a child user. It could also be possible for unauthorized users to remotely gain access to the toy if the security measures used for these connections are insufficient or the device is compromised." So basically what they're saying is, if you can, stick a password on it. The statement does go on, and effectively they are just trying to encourage parents to be a little bit more aware of these risks and try and do a bit of research into something before you consider buying a toy for your children. This can be researching such as the security issues with a toy before purchase, and to ensure it has encryption and to consider that there's security and privacy policies in place, which of course is something we all do when we buy something new. Read those incredibly long privacy policies. Honestly, if you are interested in this topic further, I will be leaving a link down in the description with the full statement on if you want to read it yourself, because it does go into a lot of detail and does provide some good pointers. But it really does go to show that Furbies really are a national security threat. Allegedly, even though just saying that sounds absolutely ridiculous. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. all I really want to do now is just kick a Furby down the stairs, and I mean, I don't have one, but I might get one just for the fun of it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.